Look, we already know that this season was a bit of a disaster for the Toronto Raptors, but it certainly hit some individual players more than most. So, in today's video, we look at 3 Raptors players who ruined their contract value this season. Let's get into it. All of you Raptors and NBA fans out there, welcome to Amateur Sports. This is a channel where you get NBA content with a particular focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday is our upload schedule. So if you like what you see from today's video and want more of myself talking about the Raptors in videos just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show your support to the channel on our road to 3,000 subscribers. We're getting very close. Also, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/amateursports. We're watching a ton of NBA playoff games, so make sure you're a part of that fun. Join this great community. But today, we are talking about three Toronto Raptors players who really tarnished their contract value over the course of this season. And again, I will reiterate that this season was tough on a lot of the players on this team, but there were still, some silver linings for guys getting contracts here. Like Freddie Gillespie comes in on a 10-day contract and gets himself a 2-year deal. Burch came in and, was looking like a bench guy who could barely put the ball in the basket, but the Raptors gave him an opportunity, and he seriously upgraded any sort of value he will have in this free agent market. Yuta Watanabe as well. I think he played himself back into the league for another season next season. But we're not talking about the good stuff today. Let's dive into some dirty laundry for the Raptors players here. So we're going to go through in order of the players. And the first player on the list of players who ruined their contract value for the Raptors this season, it should come as absolutely no surprise that Aaron Baines is the first man on this list. The Raptors essentially made a $7 million gamble that Aaron Baines' last season with the Phoenix Suns wouldn't be a fluke season, that he could transfer this great basketball, this great play over to a starting role with the Raptors. Because with the Phoenix Suns, he was great. He started out the season pretty hot. DeAndre Ayton got suspended for 25 games, which made Aaron Baines take on a whole new role. A career bench player does have that NBA championship on his resume, but, a career bench player, career guy averaging like 5 or 6 points per game, not very efficient from the field, and he kind of developed that 3-ball game in his final season with the Boston Celtics, which earned him that 1-year contract with the Phoenix Suns. And with the Phoenix Suns, 15 points per game, again, 35% from 3, really got down that 3-ball, plus his shooting about 47-48% from the field. Why wouldn't he be able to transfer that over to the Raptors? We saw, these things develop about his game. He looked decent on defense, got an all-defense second-team vote actually at the end of the season. There were a lot of good things about Aaron Baines' game, and I thought in particular the fact that he could spread the floor but also be a pretty good defender on the interior would afford a lot of space for, our slashing guys like Siakam, like Norman Powell, to get to the rim. Those guys in particular to get to the rim, while also on offense he could stay out of the way but also be that court facilitator in that kind of high post Marc Gasol role. There was a lot of good things about Aaron Baines' game, but he comes to the Raptors and none of it transfers over. He looks like a guy who has no idea how to score under the rim. I mean, it really looked like, in a lot of situations with him trying to finish under the rim, that he just literally didn't look at the rim, closed his eyes, and just chucked it over his head near the backboard, and sometimes it would go in, but a lot of times it wouldn't. And a lot of those bunnies, they just gotta go down for a big man. And the 3-ball, just you could tell from day one, it was not working. I don't know if it just didn't blend with the Raptors. I don't know if his confidence got shot early, but he went right back down to that bench guy that we saw with the Celtics, with the Pistons. He went right back down to that level. Last season with Phoenix was just a complete anomaly of his career. And again, the Raptors made that $7 million gamble that he could turn those minutes, those stats into starter role, and he just couldn't. We asked a career backup guy to, exceed what he could produce, and it didn't happen. And next season, he's on track to make $7.35 million. That is what the Raptors would have to pay him in that team option. It's non-guaranteed. It becomes guaranteed on August 5th, though. The Raptors are not going to exercise that contract. Aaron Baines will be a free agent where he's going to struggle, man. He's going to struggle, I think, to stay in the NBA here. But ultimately, I think Aaron Baines has a role in this league. I think Aaron Baines has a role. He's a bench guy. Nobody's going to ask him to be a starter anymore. He's going to be like a third-choice center. I think he has a role in the NBA, but for no more than $2 million. He's making no more than $2 million. And for a guy who could have made 7.35 with the Raptors, that's a ruined value. Next guy on our list is Stanley Johnson, the second guy who has ruined his contract value this season. Stanley Johnson has had a very difficult career. He was a very high lottery pick from the Detroit Pistons. He went 8th overall out of Arizona, and Detroit thought they had a solid defender, NBA-ready defender who could slash the rim and get a ton of points. But, I think that recently in the NBA, those guys who come out as these super athletic slashers just don't quite translate the game. There's some who do, obviously, but I feel like there's just a few of those guys who come out of college as slashers with a ton of athletic potential who just don't transition their game and upgrade it to the NBA level. Stanley Johnson fits in that category. Another guy I think is Josh Jackson, who fits into that category. Just high lottery picks who don't pan out. Obviously, it's very difficult to get it right in the draft, but Stanley Johnson clearly was not the right guy. But with Detroit, didn't produce a lot, went to New Orleans for half a season. Then after his rookie deal expired, the Raptors decided to take a chance on this guy. They gave him a 1-year contract plus a second-year player option, and that is exactly what he exercised here. He's in, about $3.5 million is what Stanley Johnson has been making. Didn't earn that money in his first season with the Raptors, was just basically a garbage time player only got minutes in the bubble when the Raptors were actually locked into that 2 seed. So, pretty much a straight garbage time player. Nobody would have foreseen him having to take on a bigger role with the Toronto Raptors this season. We gave him the opportunity that he wasn't expecting. He had the opportunity to seize a role with this Raptors team for the future, and he didn't take it. There was 5 games this season where we had 5 players out for health and safety protocols, and that is when guys like him and DeAndre Bembry needed to step up into that starting role. The Raptors live and die by the next man up mentality, but Stanley Johnson just did not at all rise to the occasion. This season he shot 38% from the field and 32% from 3. Those numbers just aren't really good enough. This is the most minutes he's gotten per game in a season since, I believe it was his second or third season where he's getting 27 minutes with the Detroit Pistons. Wasn't even getting to 20 this season, but, there was a lot of situations where you couldn't even have him on the court. And, his offense, not really anything to offer there. If you look at his defense, sure, he's a solid defender, but I think a lot of his defense is the fact that he does foul a lot, and when he has to play, if he's ever in a starting role, and he has to play like upwards of 25 minutes, near 30 minutes a game, he's just going to get into foul trouble, I think. I think that for a bench role, his defense is solid, but really nothing to offer you from an offensive standpoint. And for that reason, Stanley Johnson is not going to be making anywhere near that $3.5 to $4 million range. I think that realistically, he's looking at like DeAndre Bembry money. I think that Stanley Johnson, has a spot in the NBA, but I think that spot is worth about $1.7, $1.9 million. Can't see him getting any more than $2 million. Absolutely not. We asked him to take on the bigger role. He had the chance in the contract year, and he did not seize it. And I'm not even sure the Raps are going to be the team to bring him back. To be honest, I'd be surprised if he was wearing a Raptors uniform at the start of next season. The third and final guy might come as a bit of a surprise here. Now, I could have gone for the easy route. Rodney Hood came in halfway through the season making $10 million. He's a non-guaranteed $10 million next season that the Raptors will not exercise, and Rodney Hood probably going to be making less than $2 million as well. But that would have been too easy. So the third guy on my list is actually Kyle Lowry. Now, before you guys get mad, before you guys click off the video, Kyle Lowry made $30 million this season. In fact, with player incentives, that might have gone up to $30.5 million this season. Kyle Lowry is 35 years old. He is not getting any younger. And I think that Kyle Lowry has a lot to offer at NBA teams. And I think that those teams at the deadline who didn't trade for him, the Miamis, the Phillies, the Lakers especially, really made a mistake. They really made a mistake not trading for Lowry. I think he really would have pushed on for that championship contention, because this season, Lowry averaged some great numbers in efficiencies, 39% from 3, 43% from the field. That is well above what he usually produces. 17 points per game, 7.3 assists. Very good numbers for Kyle Lowry this season. Now you're wondering, well, how does he make this list then? Well, Kyle Lowry is not going to be making $30 million again. I think a lot of that is based on the Raptors not playing him. Kyle Lowry is extremely well rested after only playing 9 games from the trade deadline, where the Raptors decided not to trade him. I guess there wasn't a very good offer coming in, because only 9 games played after the deadline. Kyle Lowry, there's going to be some question marks surrounding him. We don't know exactly for sure what he's going to produce for a different team. This Raptors team is so well built for him that maybe some other teams are going to ask some questions. I think the Raptors, who are in a little bit of a retool right now, aren't necessarily going to be wanting to pay Kyle Lowry a whole lot of money when they need to be allocating money elsewhere to bolster and strengthen their current roster. So for that reason, I think that Kyle Lowry will struggle to make $25 million next season. I think there's going to be some teams in free agency maybe looking at the low 20s, $22 million, but I think that the Raptors might cave and give him about $24 million. But regardless, I think that Kyle Lowry's contract value has diminished quite significantly. Will he be making a lot of money still? Yes. Is he still a very good player? Is going to help any team that he goes to? 100% absolutely. Kyle Lowry is a serial winner who knows how to get winning done, knows how to get the best out of his teammates. But for $30 million, that's just not going to happen anymore. So just a quick little list for you guys. What do you make of these 3 guys who I think have ruined their contract value this season? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. But that wraps it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're still here, be sure to like the video if you did like, to help out that algorithm, to help us reach some new viewers. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers here. Also, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/amateursports. We're at 50 subs there. 200 and something followers, so join the fun. We watch along a ton of NBA games. Also play some video games like Resident Evil. Remember to subscribe to the channel. The button is next to my head. Check out some other videos by the channel as well that you may enjoy. And remember, at the end of the day, believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.